Here is something your doctor has probably never told you. The single most accurate predictor of how long you will live is not your cholesterol number. It is not your blood pressure. It is not even your weight. It is how strong you are right now. What you're about to hear in the next 15 minutes is not motivational noise. We are going to cover 4 revelations that most men in their 60s never discover. And then, before we close, there's one final insight that almost nobody talks about. There's a silent disease stealing your independence right now, and you have probably never heard its name. Muscle is not just tissue, it is a hormonal organ, and when you build it, your entire biochemistry changes in ways that go far deeper than you think. Your brain is in danger, and the gym may be your most powerful shield. Strength is not just about looking good or feeling good. It is about whether you live independently or not in the final chapter of your life. And then, the unexpected final insight, one that reframes the entire conversation. Stay with me. This matters. There is a disease that affects up to 30% of men over 60. It has no dramatic symptoms. There's no pain in the early stages. It creeps in slowly, year by year, disguised as the normal process of getting older. And by the time most men notice it, it has already done serious damage. It is called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the progressive and accelerated loss of muscle mass and strength as we age. The term was coined in the 1980s, and the condition has been recognized as a disease for less than a decade. But the concept is as old as time. Use it or lose it. Here is how it actually works inside your body. All of us will start to gradually lose muscle from our mid-30s, but this loss accelerates in later years. Muscle mass decreases 1 to 2% each year after 60, while strength drops even faster at 1 and 1.2 to 3% annually. That is not a dramatic collapse. That is a slow erosion, like a cliff face losing inches to the tide. Quiet, persistent, and eventually catastrophic. Sarcopenia increases your risk of falls, fractures, hospitalization, loss of independence, and many other chronic diseases. Think about that word, independence. That is the thing most men fear losing more than almost anything else. Not just the physical capability to move through a room without help. The psychological weight of needing someone else to do what you used to do without thinking. That fear is real, and it is valid. The prevalence of sarcopenia increases from 5 to 13% in adults age 60 to 70 to 11 to 50% in those over 80. If you are in your 60s right now, the window to act is not in front of you in the distant future. It is right now, today, this week. But here's where it gets interesting. No pharmacological treatment for sarcopenia has been FDA approved, making non-drug interventions, such as resistance exercise and protein intake, first-line therapies. There is no pill for this. There is no injection. There is no shortcut your doctor can prescribe you. The most powerful medicine for sarcopenia is progressive resistance training. The very thing the mainstream conversation has been telling men over 60 to be careful about. Research shows that adults over 60 can gain significant muscle size and strength with consistent training and proper nutrition, especially adequate protein intake. You're not too old, you're not too broken, you're not too far gone. You just need to know what to do and why the stakes are higher than you ever realized. Muscle is not just tissue that lifts things. It is an endocrine organ, a living, metabolically active system that communicates with virtually every other system in your body. When you build muscle, you're not just getting stronger. You are rewriting your hormonal environment from the inside out. Let us talk about what happens to testosterone after 60. Men's testosterone levels drop by 2 to 3% yearly after age 60, which raises serious questions about hormonal health. That decline affects energy, mood, libido, focus, body composition, and motivation. Many men feel it and have no idea what it is. They think they're just getting older. They chalk up the fatigue and the emotional flatness to time passing, but that biochemical shift is real, measurable, and crucially, not entirely out of your control. Recent peer-reviewed studies show consistent acute testosterone elevations immediately after resistance training in middle-aged men. Every time you lift with intention, you are triggering a hormonal cascade that literally makes you feel more like yourself again. But the testosterone story is only the beginning. Studies reveal that exercise training alone made artery function 28% better, which substantially outperformed testosterone therapy that showed no improvement without exercise. Read that again. The training itself, the act of building muscle, outperformed hormonal therapy when it came to arterial health. Not because the science of testosterone replacement is fraudulent, but because building muscle creates biological changes that go deeper than any single hormone. It rewires your metabolic circuitry at the cellular level. Here is another dimension men almost never consider. Muscle is the body's primary glucose disposal unit. When you have more of it, your cells become dramatically better at managing blood sugar. When muscle strength diminishes, physical activity declines, leading to reduced cardiovascular health, insulin resistance, and an increased risk of falls and injury. That is the cascade. Lose muscle, lose insulin sensitivity, lose insulin sensitivity. Your blood sugar rises, your energy crashes, your belly grows, your hormonal health collapses, and the whole system spirals downward. But when you reverse that process, and when you build muscle deliberately and consistently, you pull the entire system back toward health. You are not just changing what you see in the mirror. You are changing how every organ in your body functions. Building muscle after 60 can lead to improved mobility, stability, and strength. It can help prevent or delay the onset of several age-related conditions, including arthritis and osteoporosis, leading to an extended quality of life and ability to remain independent. What most men never realize is that the gym is not about vanity at this stage of life. It is about biology. It is about keeping the machinery running. And the machinery, when given the right stimulus, responds. Let us talk about something that most men in their 60s spend almost no time thinking about, even though it may be the most consequential thing happening inside their bodies right now. Cognitive decline. Not dramatic, sudden dementia. The quiet, gradual dimming that begins long before any diagnosis. The moments where a word slips away, where a name takes longer to surface, where focus becomes harder to hold, where the sharpness you used to trust feels like it is working through fog. That dimming has a physiological cause, and resistance training may be one of the most powerful tools to slow it. Research shows that incorporating resistance training routines and activities into everyday life can provide relief from certain mental health conditions, such as depression and anxiety, as it fosters both mental clarity and emotional stability. Depression in men over 60 is dramatically underdiagnosed and dramatically undertreated. Men of this generation were raised to push through, to not complain, to equate emotional struggle with weakness. So, when the low mood arrives, and for many men it does quietly and relentlessly, they carry it alone. They assume it is just the way things are now. It does not have to be. A systematic review and meta-analysis found that resistance training was able to improve mental health outcomes in individuals with and without mental disorders. Resistance training also offers many overall health benefits, including counteracting age-related decline in muscle mass and muscular strength, cardiorespiratory fitness, and others, and it is widely recommended for older adults. Resistance exercise is mainly used to prevent deterioration of physical functions due to aging. Various studies have also reported that resistance exercise helps to improve cognitive function by causing structural and functional changes in the brain. Structural functional changes in the brain. This is not metaphor. This is measurable neurological adaptation. When you train with weights consistently, your brain physically changes. Neural pathways strengthen. New connections form. Blood flow to cognitive regions increases. The brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein researchers sometimes call fertilizer for the brain, rises in your bloodstream after resistance training sessions. Previous meta-analyses have consistently shown that physical exercise can significantly improve overall cognition, executive function, processing speed, and working memory in older adults. Executive function processing speed, working memory. These are not abstract clinical terms. These are the things that determine whether you feel sharp, capable, and present in your own life, whether you follow complex conversations, whether you solve problems with confidence, whether your mind feels like an ally rather than a limitation. Biological mechanisms include improved stress regulation and reduced inflammation. Psychological benefits encompass better self-esteem, improved sleep quality, and emotional well-being. Inflammation, sleep quality, self-esteem, all of it shifted by the act of building muscle. Not just your body, your whole life. Here is where almost everyone gets this wrong. They think of physical training and mental health as separate tracks. One is for the body, one is for the mind. But the science is telling us something far more elegant and far more hopeful than that. They are the same track. When you strengthen the body, you strengthen the mind. When you protect the muscle, you protect the memory. They are inseparable. Imagine two versions of yourself at 75. In the first version, you spent your 60s taking it easy. A walk here, a golf round there. You told yourself that was enough. Your muscles slowly eroded. Your balance quietly worsened. Your energy dropped year by year until you just assumed that was what 75 felt like. Eventually, a fall, a fracture, a hospitalization, and a transition, gradual, agonizing, into needing help with the things you used to do without thinking. In the second version, you started building muscle in your 60s. Not obsessively, not perfectly, but consistently. 2, maybe 3 times per week. Progressive resistance, adequate protein, intentional recovery, and over the years, something remarkable happened. You got stronger as the world around you got weaker. You walked with certainty. You carried your groceries, played with your grandchildren, traveled without fear. Not because you were lucky, because you made a biological investment. And it paid dividends. The research is not ambiguous about which version is available to you right now. The reviewed studies showed that physical exercise interventions significantly improved neuromuscular function, physical performance, and postural control in older adults. Positive effects were observed in gait speed, stair climbing ability, grip strength, muscle mass, and bone density. Gait speed, stair climbing, grip strength, bone density. These are the metrics that determine your quality of life in the later decades. Not your net worth, not your career history, not your social status. These physical capabilities are the foundation everything else rests on, and they respond to training. At 60, at 65, at 70, the body is not finished. The association between grip strength and longevity showed a significant linear dose-response relationship in older adults for both sexes, which may indicate that gaining strength is particularly relevant to increase longevity at older ages. Dose response means the more strength you build, the more benefit you gain. It is not an on-off switch. It is a sliding scale. Every kilogram of force you add to your body, every pound of muscle you earn, pushes that scale further in your favor. Men with a negative slope in grip strength had a 16% increased risk of mortality per kilogram per year of decline, while participants with a positive slope, those gaining strength, had a 31% decreased risk of mortality. 31%. That is not a marginal improvement. That is a transformational shift in your biological odds, and it is available to you not through surgery, not through pharmaceutical intervention, but through the discipline of progressive resistance training over time. A meta-analysis of 42 studies found that individuals with low grip strength had a 67% higher risk of early death from all causes compared to those with high grip strength. 67%. Let that number breathe for a moment. 67% higher risk of early death from being weak, not from smoking, not from obesity, not from a genetic disease, from low muscle strength. And yet, we do not talk about this the way we talk about blood pressure. We do not screen for it the way we screen for cholesterol. It sits in the research literature quietly screaming, while millions of men in their 60s walk around losing 2% of their muscle every year and wondering why they feel so different from who they used to be. Now, you know. Everything we've covered, from muscle loss and hormones to brain health and longevity, points to one clear truth. Building muscle after 60 is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your health. But the greatest benefit isn't just physical, it's something far deeper. It's your identity. Research shows that resistance training doesn't only improve strength, it also supports better mood, sleep, confidence, and overall mental well-being. But what matters most is how it changes the way a man sees himself. When you begin rebuilding your body with purpose, you stop thinking like someone who is simply getting older. You start thinking like someone who is still capable of growing. You make decisions from confidence instead of limitation. You carry yourself differently. You become more engaged with your family, your friends, and your life. That's the transformation most people never talk about. Strength training isn't just about adding muscle. It's about reclaiming independence, resilience, and self-respect. Better sleep, sharper thinking, improved confidence, and a stronger sense of purpose are not side effects. They're part of the transformation. And here's the real secret. The men who build muscle after 60 don't just live longer, they live better. They stay active, capable, and fully present for the people who matter most. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. What's one change you're committed to making after watching this? Let us know in the comments. Your story can inspire another man to take his first step. Let's bring this home. If you believed slowing down was simply the price of aging, I hope this video changed your perspective. Science is remarkably clear. Your body can still build muscle, gain strength, and improve function well into your 60s, 70s, and beyond. Age does not remove your ability to adapt. It simply decides to start even more important. Today we've learned that muscle loss is real, but it's not inevitable. Building muscle supports healthier hormones, sharper thinking, better balance, greater independence, and even a longer life. One of the strongest predictors of healthy aging isn't just what you weigh, it's how strong you are. But beyond all the research and statistics, remember this. You're not defined by your age, you're defined by the choices you make today. Every workout is more than exercise. It's a statement that you refuse to surrender your strength, your independence, or the life you still want to live. In our next video, we'll reveal the biggest resistance training mistakes men over 60 make, and the simple training principles that build strength while protecting your joints. Until then, keep moving, keep getting stronger, and remember your best years don't have to be behind you. They can still be ahead. If this story changed the way you look at the strength of your own body, please subscribe and like the video. We are uncovering the biological truths that have been overlooked for too long. Let's build a stronger future together. The next chapter of your health journey begins now.